which I'm very excited for. And our first reader today is going to be the wonderful Stephanie Bedwell-Grime. Stephanie, right? Come on up here, darling. Here, I'll tilt this down. I love your dress. Seriously, I just want everything everyone is wearing, too.
Thank you. This is a short excerpt from my story, Miles to Go, which is in the anthology, Group Hex, Volume 1. Air the consistency of cold soup wafted through the car's open window. Weston Smith hunched forward in his seat in an attempt to peel his sodden shirt from the plastic upholstery. The red numerals on the dashboard clicked over from 2:59 to 3 a.m. He should have stopped hours ago. He'd stop right here and now, if only he could figure out exactly where here was. An overturned 18-wheeler on the 401 that backed up traffic for miles had sent him in search of another route east. At least he thought he was still traveling east. The road that looked like a straight line from Kitchener to Guelph snaked over half the countryside, taking him miles out of his way. Fog hung like torn curtains in the valleys of the country road. Wispy tendrils stole the beam of his headlights, scattering it back at him. On a clear day, the patchwork of farmland covering the hills would be clearly visible. Smothering darkness and mist painted the landscape in alien textures. Brief moments of clearing came on the crests of the hills when the world dropped away in a sea of black. But the plunge downhill was like driving into milk. A rock-hard bed at some budget inn seemed more appealing by the minute. He pried stiff fingers from the steering wheel that he'd been holding in a death grip and rubbed the sore spot between his eyebrows. The constant cycle of light and dark was giving him a headache. He glanced down at the speedometer and groaned when he realized he'd only been going 40, for all it felt like 100 on those downhill slopes. The half-hour drive was quickly becoming an hour. At that speed, he wouldn't hit Guelph until almost 4 a.m. He had a presentation to give at 9, a presentation he hadn't written yet. With a groan of frustration, he slammed his foot down on the accelerator. Miles later, the blinding white and velvet black had become a predictable pattern. He kept the car pointed against the yellow line that was barely visible down the center of the road and counted on fate to keep his eyes open. A sudden impact jarred him from his stupor. He wrestled with the steering wheel that twisted like a snake. The car shuddered as the back wheels followed the front, throwing the Honda into the oncoming lane. Bone crunch, followed by a scream, so swiftly aborted it sounded like a plea. Weston regained his composure halfway up the next rise. Had he hit a fox, he wondered? No, something larger. Raccoon? Maybe. He was certain he felt a sickening crunch beneath the Honda's wheels. Or was it just an apparition brought on by too much caffeine and too little sleep? He searched his memory and found he just couldn't be sure. The Honda coasted to a slow stop, its idling engine the only sound. Weston stared into a wall of white. Whatever had happened, the answer lay back there. He glanced at the clock on the dash. 3:35 a.m. He ought to be most of the way to his destination by now, if in fact he had been heading east instead of driving around in circles. He couldn't spare the time to go back and find out that what he thought he'd hit was merely a figment of his imagination. Weston pressed his foot back down on the accelerator. The Honda jerked to life. Sorry, fox or raccoon, he thought, but a man's got to make a living. And then a more chilling thought occurred to him. What if it wasn't a raccoon he'd hit? What if it was a person, lying helplessly in the middle of the damp pavement, having no option other than to watch in horror as the glow of headlights disappeared into the distance? Conscience warred with the thought of that 9 a.m. presentation. The Honda shot forward another few feet. It would be so easy to think only of his obligations and keep going. But Weston had never considered himself a cruel man, and he could no more leave a wounded animal in the middle of the road than a human being. With a curse, he swung the Honda around and doubled back over his path. The visibility didn't improve in reverse. Each column of parting fog renewed his terror at what he might find. A dying raccoon, desperately trying to drag itself from the road, or worse still, the vacant eyes of a dead man, staring accusingly back at him. Beneath the Honda's tires, the ground began to slope upward. He sighed in relief. And then, in the beam of his headlights, he saw a lump of something dark lying against the black ribbon of the road. Thank you.